Hey guys, Mark here with another edition of Weaponized Truth. And once again, I may start losing some more subscribers. Um, I just have some things that I've been kind of just thinking about and reading about lately, and just thinking about a lot of things that are going on in the world. And thinking about how the world has changed, probably since around the year 2000. Now, this isn't really, this isn't a news story. I know that's typically what I'm known for, and when I see more things that are really worthwhile for me delving into, I'll get into. And I just want to talk to y'all about, why I'm not putting so many videos up talking about the news. Um, Part of the reason is the I used to have a lot of faith, and I guess in what you would call, I don't know, the alternative media. Not absolute blind faith, but I had a lot of faith. And it seems like the vast majority of the alternative media and people who follow alternative media are pretty much all in with the likes of, InfoWars, Paul Joseph Watson, and Jack Posobiec, Mike Cernovich, and all these people. And uh, Paul Joseph Watson, especially and particularly, is a fraud. And he may be the biggest one of them all, right next to Alex Jones. And and actually, now that I think about it, I came across this article on Yahoo the other day. Yesterday, I think it was. And I think I saved it. I think I saved it. I wasn't going to get into this, y'all, but I think this is important. So y'all just have to bear with me here while I pull this up real quick. And anyways, I'll leave a link to this, but it's talking about how long Israel could survive without America. And it's talking about how much money we give to Israel. And a lot of other things. And it's talking about between 1946 and 2016, we've given approximately 125 billion in money and arms, making Israel the largest beneficiary of American aid in the post-Second World War era. By the end of the 10-year military aid package recently agreed to for the 2019 to 28, the total figure will be $170 billion. U.S. aid in recent years has accounted for some 3% of Israel's total national budget and 1% of its GDP. And such termination will require significant belt tightening and painful cuts to Israel's already overstretched budget for domestic needs, such as health and education, which would inflame social tensions. It would not, however, pose an insurmountable challenge to Israel's national economy. The true impact would be on Israel's defense budget. In recent years, U.S. aid has constituted approximately 20% of Israel's total defense budget. And almost the entire procurement budget. It's a lot of money, y'all. And part of what they talk about in this article is because we have so much military weapons set up over in Israel. We have so much stuff there now that it's virtually impossible to continue giving them money because we've already invested so heavily and we've got so much shit there that it's not really worth the trouble to try and get it out, especially what this author is saying. And um, part of what he talks about in this article is that a lot of people seem to somehow automatically, they automatically relate Israel and the help we're aiding to the Jews over there and automatically kind of relate that to the Holy Land over there in the Bible and Christianity, when the fact is Jews hate Christians. I mean, maybe not quite in the same way as Muslims do, where they want to wipe us off the planet. But I'm sure as much as they do hate us, wiping us off the planet wouldn't make them feel very bad at all. And we're making them the most powerful country in the Middle East. And part of what's interesting is he's talking about because we give them so much stuff that we think that they would just pretty much do whatever they wanted, whatever we wanted all the time, but that's not the case. They rebel against us and do whatever the fuck they want all the time. And we just keep giving them money. It's like, whatever. Apparently, we've stepped in the United Nations meetings, and the NATO meetings and stuff, where all the countries have a veto or whatever. And we vetoed all sorts of crap where everybody was unanimously agreeing that stuff needed to happen to Israel, and the United States would step in and say, fuck that. And of course, the way their meetings are set up, everything has to be unanimous, because if one person vetoes, then the whole thing is negated, right? And basically what he's talking about is basically saying there's not one single country anywhere on this planet that would pick up the slack, even in the smallest, tiniest bit, to help Israel if America pulled out. But for some reason, we keep giving them all this money. But for some reason, we can't seem to do shit about what's going on in the Middle East. There's a lot of good information in this article. I'm not going to talk about the whole thing. I will leave a link to it. But it's pretty interesting, because there's only a couple of channels out there who would talk about this, and this is a pretty serious issue. I mean, why are we helping this country with this insane amount of money when nobody else in the world gives a fuck about them? Something's going on there. But I'm not going to sit here and keep dwelling on this, but it's just everybody is lying about everything. And this is going to kind of get me to my point and what I really hope you guys have stuck around to think about. Now, yes, I'm getting a little older. I'm not a teenager anymore. I'm not a millennial. But I've been alive for long enough. And those of us who were, adults, right around the year 2000 when everything started to change, it's somehow in 10 years, from like 2000 to 2010, this whole world got flipped upside down, y'all. And the simple fact of the matter is, I don't know how to do it. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. But the simple fact of the matter is the internet is destroying this planet. The internet is driving everybody fucking insane. The internet is why we're getting little pieces of information about people and different news stories about people all the time. And that's part of the reason why we've got real news station posting fake news stories all the time because there's so much information out there. Nobody can keep up and everybody's confused as fuck. That's just reality. The simple fact of the matter is there is such a thing as an access to too much information, and right now it's exactly what we have. The only thing that people really get from the internet that they didn't have before, I mean, obviously, there is one great thing about the internet before I get to that. And that's the fact that it gives you the ability to communicate with any person on the planet. Something you would have not had the ability to do without the internet unless you were a world traveler. Alright, so that in itself is pretty cool. And I'm sure that's not the only good thing that's neat about the internet. But it's definitely the main one. But aside from that, what have we really gained? You can watch free movies, right? You can get free music. You can get free porn. Porn's the big one. Like half of the top 100 websites on the planet are porn. And slowly but surely, day by day by day, technology, mainly in conjunction with the internet, is destroying industry after industry after industry. And all these fucking young kids and millennial kids just want to stay at home in their quiet little bubbles and not do shit because they're so overwhelmed by the access to everything, and they're so busy staying inside on their smart devices all the time, they don't know how to function correctly in society. And when they are functioning correctly in society to a degree, they're trapped to their devices. See, I posted a video the other day about the LBGT agenda. And I posted a song. It's a great song. It's a freaking awesome song. And if you didn't grow up in Dallas in the 80s, you'll have no idea who the fuck these guys are, but they were amazing. Now, when I posted that, which barely anybody's seen, which is fine, it really got me thinking about music. And music is obviously one of the industries that's been completely ripped upside down by the internet and technology. I was a DJ, guys, and it's not too often these days you see DJs playing records, right? All that shit's being replaced with laptops and computers and iPods and all that shit. They'll have a bunch of fancy looking devices and light shows and all that stuff, but everything's all getting automated. The only people who are really using records anymore are just people who, are like, being vintage. And that was the big thing. There was a big fight between 2000 and 2010 over whether a real DJ was somebody who used turntables or not, because everybody was switching over to stuff like Serato. Eventually just straight up over to laptops altogether. And the simple fact is, y'all, when I started reading about the music industry being destroyed, and the music industry and Hollywood are two of the industries that got hit hardest by this internet thing, one of the things they were talking about was music scenes. And this is something that I've talked about, especially as it pertains to electronic music. This is something that I'm very passionate about, you guys. And the one thing that I've always said, and the one thing that made DJs awesome and made them different, was the fact that not every single person on the planet had the same music. You had to go score through piles and piles of records and try to find the good ones. And it was even okay when you could order them online. But then came along stuff like iTunes and Beatport and Google Play and every torrent site on the planet. And everybody can access and download any music that anybody's ever heard in about 10 seconds. This in itself is part of what killed the whole DJing scene. This is why you don't have, you know, um, you don't have all-time great mix CDs anymore like you did like in the 90s, because everybody all has access to the same music now, so everybody's all playing the same shit. You see what I'm saying? The diversity that we once had is gone. And it hurt the scene really, really bad. And now 90% of the music on Beatport sounds exactly the fucking same. And a lot of it isn't very good. Let's be honest. And this is coming from somebody who's been passionate about electronic music my whole life. And I'm not just talking about electronic music in general. I'm just using this as an example. But what are a lot of these articles that talk about the devastation that was done to the music industry by the internet? They are just talking about the access to everybody's music all the time for free. But it's just the access to be able to hear anything that's out there in a matter of 2 minutes. And what they're saying is that it's killing the underground. And what they're saying, and I believe there's a lot of truth to this, is a lot of the big movements that you've seen in music in past generations may never happen again because there is no underground anymore. You could go back and talk about the movement that was the Beatles. You know, they changed music forever, right? And then you got people like the Bee Gees in the 70s. They changed music forever. You know, you got people like Depeche Mode and New Order, right? They changed electronic music forever. They made electronic music a thing, right? And then you've got the whole, the whole new wave thing that took off, you know, where you had like the Smiths and the Violent Femmes, Book of Love, all these different types of bands that were cool and underground, back in the 80s or whatever, and then of course in the 90s, that's when grunge broke out and this whole thing blew up in Seattle, with Nirvana and Soundgarden and Stone Temple Pilots and Mudhoney and Hole and all these other people. And for the most part, with the exception of, dubstep maybe that kind of came out, sometime around 2000, you don't really have any, defining dubstep artist really, because everybody's just been doing it for a while now. And I guess technically you kind of say the same thing about electro. It's kind of a new thing that came around since 2000, but even that, it's the same type of deal really. But what they're saying is because everybody has access to everything all the time, there's really no room for these underground subcultures to be developed. And because people have access to everything all the time, people don't really understand anymore and don't really understand what it's like to be a part of an underground music scene in your own area that the rest of the planet may be oblivious to. But in the age of internet, that doesn't exist anymore. And according to tons and tons and tons of these articles that I've read, this may never happen again. And that's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. And cell phones is a horrible idea. Now, granted, if you're at a store and you can't find somebody, or you're at a concert or you can't find somebody, or you're in a car and your shit breaks down, right? Having a cell phone is definitely pretty cool. Being able to use your cell phone as your phone and your music player and your camera at all the same time is pretty convenient. But, this is the but. There is something to be said about people not having access to you all the time. I've been on both spectrums. I grew up from the pre-internet age and after the internet age, and I know what it's like to not have access to the internet all the time, and I know what it's like to have access to massive amounts of information and stuff all the time. And I gotta tell y'all, not having access to as much information as we do right now, we were better off before we had it. Life was better and life was simpler. We didn't have to worry about being on camera everywhere you went. You didn't have to worry about having some kind of special card to get the same price as everybody else at the grocery store because they want to track your shit. I mean, there's definitely something to be said about getting off of a hard day's work and people not having the access to call you or text you or send you stupid ass memes when you're out doing other shit when you want to be left the fuck alone. Right? It's nice to know if you ain't at home, your job can't get a hold of you and try to get you to come to work while you're out with your family or your friends. But now in the age of cell phones, they demand it. And I'm telling y'all, just like that picture I had up at the beginning of Sophia the robot who said she wanted to destroy all humans, the internet is destroying us. It's a gateway drug for globalism that they're trying to use for the population. Because you take away the internet and globalism crumbles in a heartbeat. And all this shit they're trying to do with the United Nations to depopulate the planet evaporates. And I do think there's a couple of aspects, including me, that I would definitely miss. But obviously, I am not the only person that feels this way, because it seems like every other day we're having worldwide cyber attacks on everybody's computers. And that's the whole thing about it too. The whole fucking thing was designed to connect to people you trust, and we're connecting to hundreds and thousands of strangers every fucking day. People are getting robbed, people are getting their identity stolen, people are getting killed. I mean, it's fucked up. And I don't know what to do, and I don't know what the answers are, and I'm not saying we need to abolish technology altogether, but we need to figure something out, y'all. Because with all the great things and stuff it's done for our lives to enrich it and make it better, It's actually made a lot of this shit worse. And until humanity is ready to face that, I think we're lost. And I don't think people realized how all this access to everything has just fucked us up, and it's like a trap. It's a trap. People can't remember where to go anywhere anymore because everything's on fucking GPS. I'm the same way. I can't get fucking anywhere because I don't remember how to get there because I could pull everything up on Google Maps and have some robot bitch tell me where to go. I don't know what the fuck anybody's phone number is because all I do is press a button on my phone. And nobody's absorbing information anymore because they can just pull it up on a whim from the internet. So it's making us stupider. And what happens when you make us stupider? You have access to lots of information. Then you got people, telling you it's okay to turn your broken little boy into a girl and, all this other crazy shit that's going on in the planet. They can just tell you a million different things at the same time, get everybody confused as fuck, and cause mass mayhem to go on worldwide, and it's working. So I don't know what to do, and I don't know where the answers are, and I don't know where we draw the line, but at some point, humanity's going to have to turn against technology in order to retain our humanity. Because I guarantee you, there will be ways, and this is the thing that everybody's talking about, is trying to use cybernetics and all this type of stuff to live forever. I'm telling you, they're working on drugs that can make us live for thousands of years that don't require one single microchip. And it's only a matter of time before that happens. We don't have to merge with computers to live with thousands of years. Go look up Aubrey de Grey and the Sense Foundation in England. Go look at the tests they're doing over the University of Texas, where they've already extended the lives of rats and mice and actually made them younger. Okay? So we don't have to merge with technology to live for thousands of years. That shit's on the horizon with the pill. So, so I don't know. Do I have any particular point? No, I just want to give y'all something to think about. And I'm just saying, there's a lot of great things about the internet, but there's also a whole shitload of drawbacks. And honestly, I think we're a lot fucking better off without it at some point until humanity stands up to the technology. We're gonna go more and more insane. And it seems very obvious, especially when you see these AI bots going on Twitter and getting all racist and shit. It's just a prime example that people are not ready to handle this technology. Anyways, that's just some of the shit that I think about. I hope y'all find it interesting and it gives y'all something to think about. But anyways, obviously it wasn't for technology, I wouldn't be posting this video. So what are you gonna do? This is Mark from Weaponized Truth signing out. You guys take care.